All right, so I'm recording this meeting. So we'll be sharing the recording right after the session. All right, so once again, I welcome you all to these share your PT experience sessions that we usually conduct on Sundays, a lot of Sundays, not every Sunday. So we had a session last week where one of other students, Aditya, who scored an overall score of 90, share his experience. And this week we have Daya Shankar. So Daya Shankar, let me tell you a few things about Daya Shankar. So Daya Shankar took his exam on 30th of December, and there you can see his overall score. So he got a 90 in listening, 86 in reading, 19 speaking, and 19 writing. So getting a score that is just above 79 and getting a perfect score that is getting a 90 in all of these sections is an achievement. So you can make a lot of mistake and still get a 90, but you have to cross a certain limit to get that 90. So he must have made really less mistakes, which is why he got a 90 in most of these sections. So the idea of this session is basically to figure out what were the strategies that he employed to get this score. So what was his preparation plan? What was his strategy? So we can, from our previous experience, we have seen that everyone has their own technique, their own way of doing things. So they must also have something to share. So we'll try to ask him questions and then try to get maximum out of this session. So I would encourage all of you to please ask questions. Don't be shy. Your question may help others also. So it's very, very important to ask questions. So hey there.
Am I audible?
Yes, there. You are absolutely audible.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to join this call. And Ambrish, do you want me to introduce myself?
Yes, Daya. So you can start off. First of all, a big congrats to Daya. Let's all congratulate Daya first for having this incredible achievement. And you can start by talking about yourself, your personal, your professional life, and how you managed to prepare. So you can start introducing yourself.
Okay, great. So I'm Daya Shankar, as all of you know by now. I'm a working professional. I have a family and I have 2 kids. And I basically took up PTE to contribute to my wife's course. So she is the primary applicant. And I wanted to contribute some points for her. And that's the reason I took up PTE.
All right. And so your score requirement was 65.
Yes. The minimum requirement was 65 because I had to get my skills assessed. So 65 was the minimum points that I was supposed to score in each of the quadrants, parameters.
Perfect. And you are a first-time test taker.
Yes.
Okay, super. Go ahead there.
Yeah. So yes, my preparation time was, I think, about one month approximately, and I fortunately got in touch with Fountainhead, especially Ambrish, and so we got on a call, and then he suggested me to take up the evaluation test without even practicing any of the sections or even understanding the overall concept or how many topics are covered, all of that. And I was honestly not aware of, I just knew that we had listening, reading, speaking, and writing. But apart from that, I didn't know what all sections are covered within it. So I just went straight ahead and with a blank mindset, I took up the evaluation test.
So you're talking about the PT diagnostic test, right?
I called Ambrish and I asked him to evaluate my scores. Yes. Diagnostic test. Sorry.
Okay.
That's available on Fountainhead.
All right. So tell me something there. So this is something interesting that you have mentioned. So I usually tell students to take PT diagnostic test as their first step. So a lot of students tell me, I don't know anything about the test. So how can I take this test? Let me prepare. So what was your experience? As in, when I told you to take the diagnostic test first without having any knowledge about PTE, so what
Yeah.
was your uh, thought process?
Yes. So I asked the same question to Ambrish as well. I asked him. I don't even know what all sections are covered in it, and so should I prepare myself and then give a test? I even asked my wife, who's taken this test a few times. So when I checked with her, and she was also completely blank. She didn't know what to suggest. But then I thought it's just a diagnostic test. So he's just trying to evaluate me and try to see where my weak points are and how I can improve on those. So why not just take it up and be confident about it, and let's see whatever I score. It's okay even if I score 50 or 40. Let me just go ahead and give it, because it's not a real exam that I'm giving. So I thought it should be okay, and that way he will also be able to assess my exact weak points. So that's why I just went ahead and look it up.
Perfect, perfect. So the reason, yeah, so whatever they are told is perfectly correct. As in, the reason why we ask someone to take PT diagnostic test is just to, I mean, it's basically to achieve two things. One is to let you know about the exam structure. So if you have not taken PT before, going through this test will give you a first-hand experience of taking the test. And once you complete the test and once you apply for an evaluation, we will get on a call, and that call is typically about 45 minutes to 1 hour. I mean, do you remember the call duration the first time there?
Yes, Amrish, it was around 1 hour, 10 minutes or so, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And that 1 hour, 10 minutes, we will tell you each and every question type, the mistakes that you have made, and the relative importance of all these question types. So there is nothing to worry about as such. And so this was your first experience, taking PT, right? You have not gone through any YouTube videos or anything.
No. It was my first time experience, and I absolutely had. That's what I just knew what PT is because my wife used to take it, but I never got involved in the learning process or trying to understand what all is covered under it. All I knew was it was an online exam. It was for around 3 hours, and then we had 4 sections which we had to cover, and we may get a variety of questions in it. Nothing more than that.
All right. And did you make a lot of mistakes in PT diagnostic test?
Yes, definitely.
Should
I
we
made a
worry
lot of
about it?
mistakes. Yeah. So yeah, I was worried when I took up the exam. It was a little scary for me because especially the speaking that comes first. And even though it was just read aloud, for example, I didn't know if I was speaking correctly, if the computer was able to understand my sentences correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Did I
Mm-hmm.
go wrong somewhere? I mean, would I go wrong somewhere? It was all
Running in the back
very
of your mind.
scary. Yeah. It was always running in the back of my mind, and that's how I made a lot of mistakes, made a lot of pauses. I even stopped. I even skipped a few questions. Uh, so that's how it went. It was very bad. I
All
was
right.
actually scared or literally embarrassed to call Ambrish and ask me to evaluate. I was in that kind of a
Okay.
situation.
I didn't knew that. All right. So, okay. So, and I think, what you have mentioned is really relevant here there, because I think a lot of students uh, do this mistake, as in, they, in between they get tensed and they think that, no, it's not going well, let me just try to figure out what can be done now. And then they go to different YouTube videos and they spend hours there, and then come back again and they are at the same level again.
Correct. I
So
agree with that.
right, so I think, that was a and so what made you make that call, as in why did you apply for evaluation?
Oh, first of all, honestly, I wanted to get through this somewhere, some way or the other, and I didn't have a choice. I had to do this as soon as possible because the time was ticking, and my wife was not able to get the desired scores, and so I had to contribute in some way or the other.
Okay.
So I had to trust someone here, and the person whom I trusted was Amrish. So I just didn't look at anyone else or didn't turn back. I just went ahead and blindly trusted his words and took up the evaluation test, diagnostic test.
Okay, interesting. All right. So yeah, after that, so what was your, do you remember your scores or something? At least, a range in the,
Yeah, I think it was around. It was all in the range of 70s, speaking, listening, writing, and reading. But
Okay.
I exactly don't remember. I think it was 72 in speaking, 76 in writing, and then again 72 or 71 in reading.
Basically between 70s and 80s.
Yes.
Okay.
But nothing beyond 79.
Okay, perfect. So that was, um, that was good, right? Your score requirement was anyways 65, right?
Yes.
So with this score that you got in the initial first test itself, did that boost your confidence? How was it? Were you thinking, should I prepare even more?
Yes. So when that happened, when I got the scores, I was actually surprised. I didn't know if it was my scores or not. But
Good.
then what I thought was I didn't stop there. I didn't want to stop there because you never know on the exam day what all kind of mistakes we may do. And I've heard people through experience that they have spoken and they've told that they would have got a lot of good scores when they do their mock tests, scored mock tests that you get usually,
Mm-hmm.
and even they score well above 79, and on the exam day they just don't know what to do and they end up scoring around 60, 65, or even less than that.
Ah, okay.
So what I thought was anything that we want to do in life, for example, if you want to learn anything new or any exam that you want to give, main thing is practice. And that was the common factor everywhere. So what I thought is I should practice. It doesn't mean that once I give the diagnostic test I get a good score. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be that way on the exam day. So it was important for me to practice and also try to understand even more, even better, how to, you know, the sections. Basically, I want to talk about it. The integrated questions that we have,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to understand all of that because I never knew what section contributes how much points. So that I was not at all aware of. And I was also not aware of my weak points, even though I knew when I was giving the exam that somewhere I was going wrong in certain speaking sections, or it can be writing, reading. I thought I did well in writing, but I from a exam point of view I actually went wrong, and that Ambrish tried to help me out with and tried to make me understand.
Okay.
So a lot of things involved here, not just one or two, and that's how it made me try even more and be
All right.
consistent with
All right.
practice.
All right. So just to summarize what they have said, so in the initial first test, that is PT diagnostic test, he got a score between 70 and 80 in each of the sections, and that was more than enough. As in, his score requirement was just 65. But based on the experience that he got from his friends, his peers, his colleagues, maybe, uh, they must have shared the experiences that a lot of other mock test websites or even the official mock test website experience that they might have gone through. That is, in scored mock test you may tend to get a lot of good, you may get a good score, but in the actual test everything falls apart. So that's where they are wanted to understand the exam in depth. So he thought he will give some time and then practice a lot, figure out all the possible mistakes that he could do, and then try to improve on his weak areas. That's it. Is that a summary of what you said there?
Yes, Ambrish. Just to add to that,
Uh-huh.
the mock test that we get scored, it can be the Pearson mock test also, the official one.
Correct.
We will get to know where we stand. That's okay, to a certain point. But we do not know where our weak points are, and who will come and tell us that these are the integrated questions that you have, or the sections. This section is very important. This is just important, and this may not be so important. So all these kind of feedback you will not get anywhere. So that's why I think it is very important for us to go through the diagnostic test once and get a feedback from Amrish.
All right, super, super, got it. So Pearson official SCORD mock test are the SCORD mock test offered by Pearson. So you will be able to take the test, and at the end of the test you will get a score report within like 15-20 minutes. Sometimes it may take up to 2 hours. So it will give you a score exactly similar to the actual exam, but the only point is it won't let you view your attempt. So all you will have is a score report, and in case you get a lower score, you won't be able to analyze where you went wrong. So we even help in analyzing official SCORD mock test as well. So we'll talk about it later. You can even get in touch with me for that. But yes, coming back to Dayam. So what was your preparation strategy? So you got to know your weak areas after taking the diagnostic test. You got to know your approximate level in each of these sections. So how you said you are working professionals, you have a family with 2 kids. So this is something that I have heard from a lot of students, even in the previous session that we had with Aditya, and even all the sessions that we had were like people who had kids at home. So you must also have done something. How did you find time to prepare? What was the strategy?
Yes. So the first step was diagnostic test, and then later on, I got in a call with Amrish, and then he explained me a lot of points where I thought it was I never knew of, and so that helped me a lot. The first thing that I did was I opened a Word document and an Excel. I made all the notes possible because I'm used to the laptop and not much of a writing person. So I made all the notes, and I also highlighted the weak points or the strong points, whatever it is, and that Amrish gave me, and then the scores and all the details. Basically, I noted down all of them. Once I noted down all of them, I just made a small chart for myself, and it was pretty basic. I just thought in a day and every day, that is, I should be studying for at least 1 hour, and that's the feedback I got from Amrish as well. 1 to 1.5 hours was my target, and anything beyond that, definitely I could go beyond that, but not less than that. So that was the initial step that I took. So I started practicing the same day itself, and I didn't wait for the coming days because I had to set a target in my mind, and I had to make sure that I achieve the target within the time frame. I didn't straight away go ahead and book the exam, but what I did for the next 1 week, one week to 10 days, I would say, I just prepared. And how I practiced was I first went through my weak points because I already knew what my weak points were by the feedback that Amrish gave me. I just went ahead section by section. I started practicing it in detail. I went to Fountainhead website, and there was a lot of practice questions. And I also downloaded the mobile app that they have. I started practicing all the questions. Let's say, for example, read aloud. Read aloud was you could do it anywhere, right? Even if I go by cab, I travel by cab to office. So whenever I just sit in the cab, I plug in my earphones and then start listening to it. And what I used to do was initially I used to repeat the same thing in my mind, the sentences. But then I started realizing that if you realize it repeat it in your mind, it is not the same as when you're speaking. So I also started speaking, even though people next to me used to look at me and see what he's doing. I didn't mind.
Okay,
and I
so
didn't
you're
even tell
talking about
them.
repeat sentence, right? So what
Yeah.
you used to do was when you were going by cabs and all, you used to listen to these sentences, but then you used to repeat this in your mind. But then
Yeah.
later you realize that you have to actually speak it out. You started
Yes.
okay, speaking.
Because
Okay.
sometimes when I used to practice at home and then speak out, so when I was sitting in the cab and reading it out in my mind, it was very easy. I used to repeat it very easily. But
Okay.
when it comes to the actual speaking at home, I used to blabber, or I used to miss out on a few words. So that's where I felt there is a lot of difference. So I started reading it
Okay.
aloud
So
or repeating
your
it.
advice would be for repeat sentence would be when you're practicing, speak it out.
Yes, definitely. It can be for read aloud also, which is a very simple section, but still very important.
Right.
Yeah,
And repeat sentence, for your information, is a very, very important question type, carries a lot of weightage. The same
correct.
for read aloud.
Yes, true.
Now, I just want to come back to this point that you mentioned, at least 1 to 1.5 hour per day, right? Now,
Yes,
um, I mean, this is an English proficiency test, right? And
yes,
you, I mean, you use English in your daily life as well, right? If I'm not wrong,
yes.
right? So, why is it necessary to spend 1 to 1.5 hour per day for practicing it?
So again, I think it's very basic. If you want to achieve what you want, then practice is very important. It can be anything that you do in life. So the same principle applies to this also, I guess. And
Good.
we have to practice. And before practicing, we have to first understand what these sections give us. Without that, it's a waste of practice. Is what I felt. And fortunately, since I got in touch with Ambrish, I may have practiced for 3 or 4 months and then still ended up scoring less than what I would have scored. But with this, I had a proper structure in mind, and I think it helped me a lot.
All right, super. So we have Shalini here asking, how was 1 month enough for preparation for a working professional? How many hours? Okay, so this is something that we have already answered, I guess.
Yes. So
Cha, please go
one hour,
ahead
one
there.
and a half hours was just the actual practice. So let's say I'm getting, and I work in the evening shift, so I come back home very late in the morning at around 4:30, 5 o'clock. What I used to do was I used to come back in the morning and then sit and read sometimes or study sometimes for 1 hour, 1.5 hours till the breakfast is prepared at home. Or otherwise I used to go get up early after that by around 9 or 10 o'clock and then start studying for 1 or 2 hours. Then again my cab comes at around 2:30, 3 o'clock. So that's how I used to spend my time. I didn't postpone my study timings. I always, so what happens usually is no, tonight is not possible, let me study early tomorrow when I get up tomorrow in the morning. And that tomorrow is to never come. So I've seen that a lot of times, even
Yes.
in my professional life. So I didn't want to postpone that. The same day I sat, and then even though I was feeling sleepy, I just sat for at least half an hour, did something, and then slept. That was the actual timings that I'm talking about, 1 to 1.5 hours. Apart from that, I also used to study in the cab. And even at
Okay.
work, if I found some time, I used to just go to a meeting room and sit and study for 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. It was like running in my mind for 24 hours at the back end.
Okay.
So whenever
Okay.
I
So
found
the 1 to 1.5 hour per day is what you're talking about, the active practice, right?
active practice, yes.
Okay. And then you also used to practice in your cab,
Yeah.
meeting room. Very good. All right. So we have Charul asking, please share the most weightage task and how to prepare per day for them.
Yes. So the most weightage, I think we will cover section by section, if I'm not wrong, Ambrish.
Yes,
How do you want
yes,
to? Yeah.
yes. We'll start with
Okay.
speaking.
Okay. So as far as I have understood, as Ambrish also mentioned, speaking, read aloud, repeat sentence is very, very important, because read aloud contributes not only to speaking but also reading. We are reading and then speaking. So read aloud is very important. Repeat sentence again contributes for speaking and uh, listening. Yeah. So you have to listen and then speak. So both you get points for both listening and speaking. So my basic idea was, when you say speaking, it is only testing your speaking. If it is writing, only writing. It's not that way. There are a lot of sections which are interconnected, so it's very important for us to understand what it is. And then when it comes to describe, image, and retell lecture, I think they don't contribute to any other sections apart from speaking, but they have a high weightage points only for speaking itself. So
Just
again,
to stop
those are,
you here, Radhya,
yeah.
retail lecture is listening plus speaking.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes. So, but they are still very important because, and trust me, this is where I went majorly. I used to get goosebumps when I used to come to these sections when I'm studying. And I was trying to avoid in the initial days not to study describe image and retail lecture because I thought it was very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But later on, I realized that no, if I avoid all these things, then it'll definitely give me a lot of trouble and I'll not be able to score. So I started practicing them a lot instead of not even practicing. So describe
Okay.
image, I did a lot. And whenever I used to sit in the office or at home, again, this tip was given by Amrish to me. Any image that I see, I started describing about that image, anything that I felt. So
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily that I used to have a content or structure in place. Anything that I feel, I look at a TV and, for example, a bed, I used to just describe something about it.
Very good.
So that's how I somehow, I think it was helping me. And here, I think it is very important for us to just keep speaking and not give a pause, not stop anywhere in between thinking that the computer may misunderstand me or it will detect me. Never think about the computer at all for all the sections. Just think that you're just going the exam to the exam hall and then just doing what you're doing. Don't think about someone sitting and analyzing or evaluating what you're doing. Don't ever think about that. I really had that fear when I did that initially, but I think I overcame it in the last few days, not even weeks, I would say last few days, about 5 to 6 days, because I took up a second evaluation test after my practice in between, and again got it evaluated by Amrish. So there again I made a few mistakes. So I knew I would definitely make a few mistakes, and I didn't want to attend the exam before getting prepared or getting a good feedback from Amrish.
Mm-hmm.
So when I took that second evaluation test, even there I went wrong with speaking. I paused and then I thought, what would the computer think? So that's the major challenge that I faced, and I'm sure a lot of others also would, agree with me. But yeah, after that I started preparing 4 to 5 days in the last few weeks, last few days. I made sure that these sections I didn't even care much about it. I just, for example, describe image, I just spoke whatever I saw. I just, whatever came to my mind, I spoke that. But I used to make sure my sentences are correctly framed,
Mm-hmm.
and I also manage my time correctly, because it is important for us to conclude, give a small introduction at least in the beginning, and then talk about a few points that we see there. It doesn't matter what you see, what you are talking, but it is very important that you have an introduction and then speak something and then later on conclude about it. Like, for example, in conclusion, this image provides vital information about so and so.
Okay.
And coming to retail lecture, here this was the most difficult one for me, because I'm not at all used to writing, as I spoke earlier, and then again speak about the same thing. So I was very slow in writing, but I started practicing that also at home. I used to write lengthy stuff, and then at least I would say 20-25 lectures in a day I used to prepare for. And then even describe image I used to do at least 35 to 40 in a day. So my whatever my weak areas are, I used to visit them at least once in 2 to 3 days. I used to go back and sit and make sure I became well versed in it. So I used to go back and do repeat sentence, describe image, read a lecture every now and then. Whenever I felt okay, repeat sentence, I think it's been 2 or 3 days, let me go back to it. And same with describe image and read a lecture also.
All right. Perfect. So this was about speaking, and we
Yes.
have one more, answer short question type,
Yes. Yeah.
which does not really matter.
Yeah. Yeah. It does not matter, but again, it will, if you want to score 79 plus, I think it is important.
Mhm.
We should not leave out any of these or neglect any of these questions.
Correct.
So yeah, this is again only by practice, I would say. It's because you never know what question you would get. You can just go to the most repeated questions and start practicing. And I think that should help.
Okay. Okay.
And again, don't correct yourself here. Let's say I said, first I said steps and then I said ladder then that was the answer that I gave. I think click on to it and move on. That's all. Just click on next and move on. Don't correct yourself in any of the sections. It's very important. If you correct yourself, then your points are going down.
Got it. Okay, all right. So let's move on to writing section.
Yes.
Yeah.
Writing, we had summarize written text. And again, I didn't know how many words I should write. Even in my diagnostic test, I didn't know how many words I should be, what is the limit, because they don't give you any limit there, but you have to understand what is the limit and all that. So there, it was important for, I just gave the diagnostic test, and then later on, Ambrish told me that the limit was around 50 to 70, right? Or no, 5 to 75. Is this the one?
5 to
I always
75.
Yeah,
5 to 75 is for summarized written text.
Correct.
But then, we typically advise to students to write it somewhere around, maybe 40, between 40 and 50 or something like that.
Yeah. Or even 35 should be good.
Yes.
So here our sentence structure is very important. It really tests the way we structure our sentences. If the commas or the grammar is correctly, the sentence is correctly punctuated, and there should not be any full stop in between. Only at the end of the sentence there should be a full stop. It should just be a one sentence. So it can be a complex sentence or a simple sentence. It usually is a complex sentence when it is a 30-word sentence. Like complex sentence in the sense you use however, then or since, or let's say furthermore. Words like this, if you use to connect 2 or 3 different sentences and make sure you don't have a full stop in between, that becomes a complex sentence. So that again, I practiced quite a lot, and somehow writing, I didn't find it very difficult. Maybe for me it was a little easy, but I'm sure for others that may be a problem. So again, it is important for us to practice, and it doesn't mean that because it was easy for me, I didn't practice. I practiced all the sections. I didn't even think of it was easy for me or difficult, because I wanted to get everything right in the first place.
Good, Daya. So even if you understood that, okay, this is something that you could easily do, you kept on practicing those as well, just to get yourself into that exam zone.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Good, very good. Let's focus on the important question types there. So
Sure.
write essay is important. I will just write those down and then write those.
Sure.
And then we will talk on along those lines. And if students have any specific questions related to any specific question type, then we will address that.
Sure.
Right. So in reading, reading fill in the blanks, reading, writing fill in the blank, and in listening, you have summarize spoken text and write from dictation.
Yes.
All right. So essay.
Yes. So when it comes to essay, again, I didn't have much of a problem, but I'll tell you what the problem, what mistakes I made there. Initially, so there's a small sentence that is given to you, and you have to discuss something about it or speak about the advantages or disadvantages of that section of that summary. So we'll have to write an essay regarding that in detail. First, we give the introduction, which is typically about 2 to 3 sentences, and then later on come to the actual what you think about that. What is your opinion about that sentence? Is it let's say global warming, and what's the take that you have on it? Is it a good thing to avoid petrol and diesel vehicles, or is it bad? So that is a discussion that you have to do, and you have to write in detail. In the first paragraph, usually talk about the advantages, and then in the third paragraph, and the second paragraph is usually about 3 to 4 sentences of your advantages, and it is very important you give some example for it. So talk about the advantages, 2 sentences, then the third or fourth sentence will be your example. Why do you think it is important for us to cut down petrol and diesel vehicles. Similarly, the third paragraph, you talk about the contrast of it or the disadvantages of it, and you say what all is a disadvantage, and then you again give an example after 3 sentences. After that, you just conclude saying, and you should be using strong words there, that I honestly, I completely disagree with this, or this is definitely not acceptable. So you should be using some definitive words there, and that's how we should be concluding. So overall, we will have 4 paras, and the first and fourth will be just 2 sentences to 3, whereas the second and third will be about 3 to 4 sentences.
Okay.
And overall, it should not be less than 200 words or go beyond 300 words. And the section will actually show you how many words you're writing at the bottom. So you'll be able to exactly see if you went below 200 or above 300. Anything above 200 or below 300 is acceptable. Otherwise, you'll again lose a few points there. So the mistake I made here in my first diagnostic test itself was I wrote more than 300 words.
Okay.
Yes. So, and then I got a feedback from Ambrish saying, no, you should not be writing more than 300. So I had to cut down on a few points. I made a note of it, and then I started practicing just to write about within 200 to 300. But again, in the second diagnostic test, I made a mistake and I wrote more than 300. So in writing, I have this habit of building complex sentences, and that's why maybe I went wrong. And to be honest, even on my exam day, I wrote more than 300. And I didn't even look at the words there. It's not that intentionally I wrote 300. I just wrote, and I wanted to go to the next section, and I was in a hurry. So I just clicked on next. Then later on realized that I may have written more than 300. So I couldn't do anything about it.
Correct. All right. See, so that's what, so certain level of mistakes are acceptable and still you can get a 90. And this is a perfect classic example for that. But, that doesn't mean that, you can make any mistake and then, get away with that. No, there are certain kind of mistakes that will be penalized heavily, and you need to have a real good understanding of the kind of mistakes that you make. It's very, very, very important for you to have that kind of understanding, which they of course had. So he might have avoided all those other mistakes so that he didn't get penalized in any of those, and he got a 90 in writing as well. Good points. Yeah, there.
Okay. So should we go ahead with reading?
Yes. Charul, let us know if this is helping you, because you are the one who asked this question. So I know it's a bit lengthy answer, but I don't know if there is any way to condense it and then tell. So let us know if this is actually helping you. All right, yeah, let's go to reading section there.
Yes. In reading, as mentioned, reading fill in the blanks and reading writing fill in the blanks, which is drag and drop. So you'll have a few words and you have to just drag them and place it in the correct order or in the correct fill in the blank. And the other one is there is a drop down. So you have to select the correct word that you feel in the drop down. This for me was honestly very difficult, because even though I may be studying English from my school days, but there were a few words for me, not on the exam day I'm saying, but overall when I used to practice, it used to be difficult, because all the words are very similar to each other. You can use anything on a daily basis if you're speaking, or even if you're writing an email. You can use any words and it is accepted. People can understand it. But when you are trying to use the same words here, there is a lot of difference, and you may end up missing out on the correct word. So you have to relate the words that you have selected to the sentences before the blank and after the blank. So it's important for us to read the sentence and understand even before selecting the fill in the blank.
Understanding the context is what you're saying is
Yes, correct.
good.
Yeah. So if we don't understand, then we cannot choose the accurate word. We may be selecting a similar word, and it can be acceptable in the common world. But when it comes to actual writing or actual reading, I think it should be structured in a specific way. So the usual suggestion that is given here is you have to read a lot, read newspapers, or it can be any magazines, or let's say any novels. So if you read that, again, don't spend too much time on it, but if it helps you, then definitely yes. So this needs a lot of practice. And that's what I realized. It may be very simple, but because the answer is right there, you just have to select the correct one. So we may think it's easy, but it may be
Right.
tough. Yeah.
Right. So these are tricky ones. Okay. So as Daya rightly said, there may be words which you think perfectly fits in, but if you miss the context or something, then you may get it wrong. I've seen a lot of students making very silly mistakes just because they did not read it properly. So understanding the context is equally important here.
Yes. So a small tip here is the word that you're about to select would usually come in the next few sentences. So if it is appearing anywhere in the next few sentences or even before that, then that's the word that you have to select. So that's what I've found out slowly.
What exactly? Okay. Let's
So
try to
let's say,
understand this a bit more in a better way.
yeah.
Come again there. Yeah.
So when I'm reading or writing, it can be a drag and drop or a drop down answer.
Mm-hmm.
Before even selecting, what I used to do was I used to see if any of these 4 words or 5 or 6 words, whatever is there, is appearing in the next few sentences or even before the blank that I have.
You mean the exact same word or
Yeah.
the word which convey the same meaning?
It can be a synonym also, like the conveying the exact same meaning, or usually the same word also will appear sometimes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So if that is appearing anywhere, then it means that this is the correct one. So I used to select that.
Yeah, we may have to show it using an example because it may not be
Yeah.
very very clear, and it can be highly confusing as well. I am telling you because people. I mean, typically this is what a lot of students test takers. I'm not blaming any of them, but a lot of us look for shortcuts, and the moment we see such a shortcut, we try to get into it, get involved, in using that shortcut. And if we really don't understand the logic behind that shortcut, it may invite trouble.
Correct. I agree.
You may have a certain understanding of how that works. So we'll probably have a different session, understanding what exactly that means.
Yes.
Otherwise, it will be difficult. Yes.
So again, these contribute a lot of points, and drop down, as Amrish has mentioned, contributes to both reading and writing. So please don't think that summarize written text and writing essay is the only writing points that you will get. That's only a part of it, but most of it comes from other sections which he has listed down.
So let me also, so far whatever we have discussed, so the high weightage, read aloud, repeat sentence, write essay, and after that we have only written high weightage questions. So these two, and we have SST and WFT.
Yes. So in listening, again, we have summarized spoken text. So here I did the same thing. It was easy for me because there's a text box there where you can just note down points when they're speaking, and this contributes to both listening and speaking. Yeah, writing. Correct, Amrish? Yeah, listening and writing. So it is not only listening, but it is also writing. You have to listen to the lecture or a summary and then give a summary of it. You have to summarize the whole lecture. So here again, you can write multiple sentences. Please don't get confused with summarize spoken text and summarize written text. They are two different things. And I took a lot of time to understand these because I always used to get confused. Summarize written text, we have to just write one sentence, no full stop in between. Only at the end of the sentence you give a full stop. Whereas summarize spoken text, you can have multiple sentences and you have to cover the whole topic. At least a small introduction of the topic, or say that this is the topic that was discussed, and then write 2 or 3 key points that you noted down. And here, points means it is not just words. Take a phrase out of it. Phrase in the sense a combination of 2 or 3 words. Just write them down so that it's easy for you to frame a sentence. If you just take down only 1 or 2 words, then it's difficult for us to frame a sentence. So I felt phrases are easier. So that's how it helped me. I just used to write 2 or 3 key sentences using those phrases and then conclude at the end of it. So this typically is around 50 to 70 words. Again, don't go beyond 70 or below 50.
And in the actual exam, did you write anything below or above this limit?
No. Here I was careful because I realized from my writing mistake.
All right, go ahead.
Now, write from dictation, again, it comes at the end of the section. It's the last section that you have in the whole exam. So you won't be exhausted. At least I didn't feel exhausted there. But again, it is not, don't think that it's not important because it comes at the end. This is the most important. And probably that's why they've kept it at the end to understand how our attention is towards the exam or how important it is. I'm not sure, but yeah, this is very important. And this is very similar to repeat sentences. There you're just listening and speaking, but here you're listening and writing it. And I felt listening and writing is more easier, at least for me, because when you're listening, I used to simultaneously type also, so that I have something in place. And at the end of it, when the whole sentence is done, I used to frame the sentence correctly, make sure if there is any punctuation, you give that, and then capitalize the first word, and then at the end, you give a full stop. So that's how I used to tackle this. And honestly, write from dictation and repeat sentences. I used to do it every day. Every day I used to practice. I never used to miss because Amrish told me that it is important. So I had to do it. And I didn't want to make any mistakes there. Every day I used to practice it at least for 20 minutes, 50 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever could be possible. And I also did change here sometimes. I used to listen to write from dictation words and then repeat it. Or in the other way around, I used to listen to repeat sentences and then type them down.
Okay.
So I try to do a combination of both, just to, I don't know, just to practice. That's all. So that helped me a lot. And you should not be missing even one sentence here. Please make sure you cover up all of them. Correct. You answer all of them right from dictation. Again, don't miss out on any words. And listening becomes very tricky because there is time ticking and you don't have a specific time assigned to a specific topic. Let's say it's right from dictation. They don't allot a specific time. Let's say 5 seconds or 10 seconds for you to write. No, it is not assigned that way. For the whole section, they gave you about 30 to 40 minutes, if I'm not wrong.
So you have individual timer for summarize spoken text, 10 minutes each.
Correct. Yeah.
Post that, let's say if you have post summarize spoken text, let's say you have, let's say 15 questions. So for these 15 questions, maybe 22 minutes will be given.
Yeah, after summarize spoken text, only that much time will be allocated. And you have a lot of other sections in between also. It is just not right from dictation after that. Correct. So you have to finish all those, like I forgot what those are.
You have multiple choice.
Yeah, multiple choice. Yes.
Multiple choice.
Correct. Yeah. So you have to finish all of them on time and then make sure you have enough time for right from dictation. So you can rush through them the multiple choice, single answer, or multiple choice, multiple question answer. But again, please read the question or the section. Try to understand the section correctly, because you may end up doing something wrong there. So again, don't spend too much time on it. Just select in multiple choice, multiple answers. If you have to select, then the suggestion that I have is, if you're not you select the first point anyway. You will have 4 to 5 answers given. So if you know the exact answer and you see that there is a point that exactly matches to it, select that one. And the second one, if you want to select but you're not sure of it, 100% sure of it, don't do anything. Just go to the next section. At least you have chosen one point, and that will give you some points. If you try to select the other one which you're not sure of, then there will be negative marking, which means that you select one correct answer, one wrong answer, that will be set off, and you get 0 there. You don't even get 1 point. So I think at least 1 point is better than 0 point.
Okay, good. All right, so good points, Daya. So we have Tarun request you to please share some tips on summarize for context. How to start with? Sorry, I joined. Tarun, we just spoke about summarize for context. So here it is. We will be sending you the recording, so you can just go through the recording, and then or if we have other people also wanting to know how exactly summarize for context, then we will take it up. So do we have other students also wanting to know about summarize for context? Then maybe we can request there to share tips. Else you can watch the recording. I would request all of you to participate. Please ask any questions that you may be having. Don't feel shy. Anything that is stopping you from preparing, you can ask. So talking it out will always help. So please ask.
Yes, please. Please be interactive. You can ask as many questions as you want, if I can help out in some other way.
What are the few steps you followed a couple of days before the exam?
Okay.
Importance of vocabulary. Yeah, thank you so much for asking questions. So please feel free to ask questions. All right, so we'll answer Jasmeet's question.
Yeah. So I think I stopped in between. The first week, what I did was I just practiced all of my weak points. I just went through all my weak points. I made sure I have understood some part of it, or I'm comfortable with those points. And then I also in between used to practice a lot of these important topics that we have covered here. Let's say the integrated questions. They're called as questions that contribute to 2 different sections. It is not just one section. So I focused a lot on these questions. At the same time, I also focused on my weak areas. So these were the 2 things that I did on my in the first week to 10 days. And then I started off with practicing all the other sections which were not so important. Let's say multiple choice, single answer, or multiple choice, multiple answer, or it can be reorder paragraph, and that again is slightly important, reorder paragraph in the reading section, but still it does not contribute a lot of points. So what I used to do, I used to practice all of these. It doesn't mean that if you just practice your weak points and the integrated questions, you'll get more than 79. So I had to make sure that I practice all the other sections as well, which were so-called not important questions. So I focused on them, and in between, I also used to do repeat sentences and then work from write from dictation, and then the other weak points. So weak points and integrated questions went hand in hand for all the weeks or all the days of my one month preparation. I never used to neglect them, because I knew these were the main areas that I should be focusing on. And second week, I think after 10 to 14 days, I gave another diagnostic test.
There, just to interrupt.
Yes.
So Ram is asking, what do you mean by integrated question? So
Yeah.
Ram, integrated question is that, I mean, those set of questions which contributes to more than one section. For example, read aloud. Read aloud is an integrated question type because it contributes mark points towards both reading section and speaking section. Similarly, you have repeat sentence. So we have few integrated question type, which is also very important question type. All right. So yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So then by the end of 13 to 14 days, I think I gave another diagnostic test, and this was the second one. I had practiced fairly quite well, and I thought I should be getting slightly more than what I've got before. So that's when I gave the exam, and then I again asked Ambrish to evaluate it, and he was very quick in evaluating, even though it was a Sunday, and he gave me feedback there. Again, it was around half an hour to 40 minutes call, I guess. He again spoke about my weak areas, and mostly what I found out was the weak areas was the same. It didn't change. So the speaking, for example, I had made a few mistakes there, and even writing essays, I had made a few mistakes because I wrote more than 300 words, even though it indicates how many words you're writing. And those areas, and he again summarized a little about how important integrated questions are. So I again wrote down all those points in a Word document. I made a note of it, and I started practicing that again for the next 1 week to 10 days. And after that, once I thought that I've covered all the sections and I'm comfortable with all of them, I started giving mock tests in the Fountainhead website. There are a lot of mock tests that you can get once you avail the package. So I went ahead and gave I think 2 or 3 mock tests, and I used to do it on a Saturday or a Sunday. So that's the time that I can completely sit on it. And 2.5 hours I used to make sure that I never moved out anywhere. Gave the exam and just relax after that. I never used to study for at least the next 2 to 3 hours. Just forget about it, and then again give another mock test the next day. So maybe 2 mock tests, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. That's how I used to plan. After all that, I started again going back to the old questions that I had already practiced in the mobile app and in the website. So again, just to make sure I'm comfortable, or just to see where I stand, if I'm able to describe an image easily now, or is it still difficult for me, I just analyzed myself, mentally. And I think the last 2 to 3 days, I just relaxed more than studying more. I didn't study more at all, because I didn't want to. I knew it would be more, pressure will be there. So I didn't want to sit and study for 3 to 4 hours or 5 hours in a day. I did the same thing, 1 hour, 1.5 hours I studied. And I used to cover a variety of sections there as well, mostly integrated questions and the weak areas that I had. And I also did a little bit of YouTube videos where I went into most repeated questions. So if you just type most repeated PTE questions, there will be a series of videos that you would get. And this again, I did it only in the last 2 days. And it was not only that, but whenever I found time in the cab or something, I just used to switch it on and then listen to it, just to get familiarized. In case I get these questions in the exam, it may be helpful. So that's why I did that. And it does not necessarily mean that you'll get the same questions there as well, but it may help you. Probably in 10 questions, you may get 1 or 2 here and there, and that should help us. And maybe a variety of questions there. So only in the last 2 days I did that, and not again too rigorously. Somewhere here and there, only some questions, some question types. Let's say write from dictation, or describe image, or repeat sentences. Only these 3.
All right. So I think that was pretty much an answer to Jasmeet's question. Ram, importance of vocabulary is what he's asking. What is the importance of vocabulary?
Okay.
So Ram, what exactly? So are you talking about the enabling skill vocabulary score, or in general how vocabulary plays a role in getting good score? I think that's your question. Yeah, I think let's take it that way. So what Ram basically is asking is how vocabulary in general will help you achieve a good score. Do you need to have a really advanced vocabulary?
Yes. So
yeah. Yes,
vocabulary I think is definitely important. Any enabling skills are important. It's not that it's not, because ultimately that is what is contributing you to score more. But it doesn't mean that it is 100% required by us, and a person who's not very fluent in English will not be able to crack or will not be able to go get more than 79%. So I think I'll be able to answer another question from Jay Patel also regarding this fluency and pronunciation. It doesn't mean that we should be having very good English knowledge about a lot of things, because from what I have heard and seen, at least there's a cousin of mine, I'll give you his example. His English is not that great when he's speaking, not that mine is great, but yeah, but still he was able to score more than 65 in the first attempt.
Mhm.
So he did that very easily. So how is it done? Again, we just have to focus on what Ambrish is giving us as a feedback and try to improve on that. So he will not ask you to go back and learn all the grammar and punctuation or vocabulary from our school days,
Mhm.
but instead he will ask us to do a lot more easier things that I'm sure we can do. And yeah, we should be able to achieve it. It's never lose confidence on that. We should be able to do that. As far as you're fluency I think will come once you are able to start framing sentences. So don't think that your frame sentences should be exactly how it is when you are trying to write it. It can go here and there, but just try to be fluent. That's I think is more important. Keep speaking.
Right. So vocabulary, in summary, Ram, vocabulary, although it plays a role in your writing, your speaking, in your reading, even in your listening section, um, if you are a decent uh, uh, speaker, or if you write decent sentences in English, then you shouldn't worry too much about vocabulary. You don't have to write any advanced vocabulary to get a high score or anything.
Yes.
So yeah, you have to basically understand the academic words that is most commonly used, relevant keywords that you could use in a particular context. So those will definitely help. So nothing like you have to use like high funda advanced vocabulary words. No, you don't have to.
Yeah, I never used any high funda vocabulary words or
Mm-hmm.
any complex words. I just framed a few complex sentences, which means that using linking words such as however or furthermore. But I never used any high funda words because I knew that using simple words is the way to do it. And
Right.
definitely anybody who's speaking or writing or doing anything, it's easy for anyone to understand. And that's how the PT I think is designed as well,
Mm-hmm.
that the more easier you make your sentences or any words that you speak out,
Mm-hmm.
it's easier for the other person to understand. That's the whole idea.
Perfect.
So I think it should be very simple. Keep it simple.
Okay. Okay. I hope that answers your question, Ram. Dhanashree is asking how much time should be spent on each question in reading section. Sometimes MCS and MCMA takes time. Okay, very good question, Dhanashree. So basically, what she's asking is how much time you need to spend in reading section question type.
Yes. So reading section again, as Ambrish mentioned, main focus should be on reading, writing, fill in the blanks, and reading, fill in the blanks. That apart from that, that is which is drag and drop, and then the drop down questions.
Mhm.
Apart from that, whatever questions are there, I think, for example, multiple MCMA and MCSA, you first look at the answer and then try to read the essay. If you see somewhere here and there, if you are able to match it, and then just go ahead and select one of them which you think is the most relevant and move on. Don't spend too much time on it because it definitely does not contribute too much points. So there's no point in wasting too much time. Instead, you can waste time or utilize that time in
Mhm.
the fill in the blank section.
Perfect. So do you have any, I mean, how much time did you spend, answering these questions, MC and the MA and MCSA?
Not more than 1 minute per question. Even
Okay.
though I was not able to read the whole thing or try to understand, there are some paragraphs which you will not be able to understand as well, even if you read 2 to 3 times. It
Uh-huh.
doesn't matter. you just select one of them which you think is the most relevant by reading the paragraph, and then move on. So don't worry too much about these things. I'm sure I used to do that initially. Then when I realized that integrated questions, this is not an integrated question, then I stopped doing it. So it doesn't have to
so
be.
timing is very important in reading section. You cannot afford to miss any question towards the end. So and especially if you have reading fill in the blanks and reading and writing fill in the blanks appearing towards the end of your exam, especially when, because there are instances in which you may get reading fill in the blanks and reading and writing fill in the blanks in the beginning of your test. So if by chance you are getting these questions towards the end of the exam, and if you miss a question, that can impact a lot. So it's very important to understand the time management in reading section.
Yeah. So to summarize, the focus is on reading, writing fill in the blanks, and reading fill in the blanks. If it comes at the beginning, spend some time on it. Don't worry. You spend quality time. Again, I would say one question, 2 minutes you can spend maximum. Don't spend more than 2.5 minutes. I think should be sufficient. And the others should be easy for you later on.
Okay. All right. So that answers. So Jay, your answer was also your question was also answered, fluency and pronunciation. So again, this is something that I want everyone to understand here. Each one of you have your own style of speaking. So don't try to change it. Be yourself. There may be certain techniques that will just work for you easily. All right. So it's very important for us to analyze it, so that we can give you precise feedback. So if you have not attempted PT diagnostic test, please attempt PT diagnostic test so that we can look at your attempt and we can precisely tell you, okay, hey, this is what you're doing. This is something that you should avoid doing.
Yes, I agree.
All right. So we have Tarun's question that was left out. Tarun, essay, are examples important to write? And to score 79 plus, are collocations as important to write in essay? And what should be the word strength for intro, para 1, para 2, and conclusion?
Yes, I think Ambrish, you are a better person to answer this.
All right, so I think essay question was already answered, but still, I will just summarize it once again for Tarun. So essay, see, we typically recommend students to write short essays so that you have enough time to proofread. All right, so typically about 220 to 240 words, and you can just write a 2-sentence introduction, which will be about 35-40 words maybe, and body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, each maybe body paragraph 1 because this is the paragraph which you are going to support. You can write maybe about 4 to 5 sentences maximum, and maybe around 80 words or so. And then body paragraph 2 may not have that many points that you mentioned in body paragraph 1, so maybe 3 to 4 sentences. Again, maybe 60-ish words or something. Again, don't go. There is no fixed rules. Okay, so don't think that okay, if I write 100-word body paragraph 1, that will create problems. No. So I want all of you to be confident about your skills. If you are really good at writing, so don't put these restrictions anyways. If you are someone who is struggling to write, then probably you should come up with a strategy. Conclusion, again, 1 sentence. Conclusion is more than enough, and maybe 25 to 30. So do we have more than 200 words now? Yeah. So if I take the lower limit, 35, 25, which is 60, 120, 200, exact 200. If I just take the lower limit, that's 200. So yeah. So again, if points are flowing, if you have enough points, don't restrict your creativity anyways. So, but then there are certain structures that you have to follow. Again, I won't recommend someone to change your writing style completely. You have to figure out the mistakes that you are making and then correct it. That's the right way to go about it.
And
So
Amrish, I'm sorry. Are examples important?
examples important. Examples are important. See, always understand that when you're writing something, especially all these essays, most of the essays that you get are persuasive essays. So trying to convince the reader with your stance. So it's really important to include examples in your essay.
And I believe these examples need not be the actual, living examples, or let's say
No,
some example that is proved. You can just be imaginary and write any example that you want. I
right.
didn't
It's
write.
like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you participating in a debate and you are trying to convince the other person, and you may even randomly come up with an example just to prove your point, right? So you can take it that way. But then you have to even you can take an example, give an example from your personal experience. And so all these things together with your sentence structuring style, the quality of sentences, you cannot afford to make mistakes. You cannot afford to make a lot of silly mistakes. You cannot afford to make a lot of spelling errors. So all these together gives a quality essay. Again, it depends. So it's very important for us to know what's your current level. Then from there we will be able to maybe help you improve.
Yeah. So examples again, it is not that you should be knowing of something. You should have a lot of knowledge about the world. You can write anything as an example. I just came up with random examples, and it does not matter.
Correct.
It can be a fake example to be more clear. Just say in 1999, when the World War happened, uh, India lost. So that can be an example. So it does not matter. The computer will not evaluate whether World War happened in 1999 and if at all India participated in it.
Yes. Yeah. So just think about it this way. We are trying to convince the other person. So you have to maybe just show an example that okay, this has happened. So for example, this has happened. So this kind of proves it. That's the whole point of writing an example. In essay, you should include example. It's very important. So I think Gamit, Ram, Tarun, does that answer your question? Okay, so Ram, we have Ram. It sounds like we should just have the word example in the essay. Okay, so not really, Gamit. So we have many students who got 19 writing without even using the word example or instance. Okay, so you don't have to necessarily include the word example, but if you are not a very good writer, then following a certain set of simple rules um, to make it make it look organized will help. That's the whole point.
So
All right.
Ram had a question. Online prediction file.
Online prediction file. Yes. Did you refer to any online prediction file, Daya?
No, I'm not even aware of it. All that I have referred to is the repeat questions that I used to get in as YouTube videos. That's all I saw, and that too I saw them only before the last 2 days of the exam. So if today is my exam, yesterday and day before is when I just went through them randomly. I didn't go through all the sections again. As I mentioned, I just worked on repeat sentences right from dictation and um, describe image, because I thought if describe image, at least one or two I get here, and it is familiar to me, it's easier for me to speak something about it in the exam. Even though you know that you're not ready for the exam, just do a mock test. It's okay, and get it scored, get it evaluated from Ambrish. It will definitely help you. He will give a lot of feedback. So the first diagnostic test that I took, he had not given that feedback to me, but in the second one he had given. Why? Again, because there was another weak area that he discovered in the second diagnostic test. So 2 or 3 should definitely help. If you are someone who's scoring 50 to 60, I don't know, I'm just saying this, but Amrish can correct me. 50 to 60 in the initial diagnostic test, I would suggest that minimum 2 to 3 you should be taking as a diagnostic test, and then or the mock test and getting it evaluated from Amrish before even going to the main exam. That's very important. Don't think about no, why should I be given so much, all of that. I am prepared, I will go. Don't take that chance and spend so much of money. Instead, it's always better to do this.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I was muted. So what I was,
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
I was thinking that
You
I
left.
spoke a lot and people didn't hear me.
All right, so sorry. So I'm not having a very sound internet connection today. I don't know why.
Okay.
All right, so this PT algorithm uses artificial intelligence while checking for writing section as per your experience, or just check the word strength, vocabulary, spelling, and all module as discussed? Is what Tarun is asking. So did we answer that question?
No, not in specific.
Not really.
Yeah.
Okay. So what Tarun, I think what your question really here is, does content really matter, or does it just look for word strength, vocabulary, spelling? Is that your question, Tarun? Yes. All right. So there, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I think you can answer that.
All right. So content plays a very, very, very important role. You cannot go wrong in content. So don't think that you can write about anything, without reading the prompt. No, that will not help. So you must have seen a lot of cases where students, the takers might be very good at writing, but they may be at 77, 78. So that's what Pearson will give you, PT will give you if you don't write content that is related to the topic. So you have to address the prompt really well. That's very, very important. It really uses artificial intelligence, and please understand that machine grading is there since 1990s, and it keeps on improving. So I wouldn't say so. Initially, when they launched, there were a lot of problems associated with it. We have seen a lot of cases where students who were not really good also used to get very good scores, but it constantly improves. That's one huge advantage of machine learning algorithms, that it keeps on the more data that it gets, it can correct itself, and then give a more robust grading, resorts to a more robust grading process. Did that answer your question, Tarun? I know it's a not so straight answer, but content really matters. Yeah. All right. So storytelling won't help. Random sentences. Again, these are assumptions. As in, again, you really have to show us what exactly you meant by that. Okay, random sentences just here and there won't help. The reason I think it's commonly misunderstood is the fact that we are always looking for shortcuts. Okay, so it's you will, once you start involving yourself into the process of writing essays, and if you spend some time, if you're a good writer, if you're a reasonably good writer, then if you spend some time, you can actually write high quality essays. So I would say don't resort to any of these shortcuts. It will actually backfire. Fixed templates, no.
Yeah, I don't think that works. Except for maybe describe image, I'm not sure. You can correct me, Amrish.
Right. So in speaking, it's altogether a different story. So in speaking, your speaking is being tested. Okay. So how well you can speak. Their content does not play a lot of role. There are question types in speaking section that gives importance to content, that is read aloud, repeat sentence. But overall, what it looks for in speaking section is the flow. As long as the flow is there, it's completely fine. But in writing, that is not the case. It will come out some way or the other. If you are using fixed template and with advanced vocabulary, I have seen this a lot. Students using advanced vocabulary, but then it's somehow some place it's going to reflect. So if one thing does not match with one way of writing does not match with the other question type, then it's something that computer can really make out. So don't resort to shortcuts. I would say understand the correct logic. You may question the logic, try to understand it in a better way, and then come up with your own way of writing. That's what that's a lifelong learning also. So, and interestingly, Daya, as he said, he was a first-time test taker, so he didn't go anywhere else. He just came to us. We were able to actually help him out very easily. But there are a lot of students, I've seen them going to different websites, YouTube videos. So they already have framed a lot of their own techniques. Most of them might be incorrect. So it becomes a very difficult process for us to make them unlearn things and then relearn.
I agree.
So
I completely agree.
there is a classic example, and I think I will invite that person in the next session. So he will talk about it a lot. So that's something that's going to be insightful. Did that answer your question, Gamit? All right, super. Tarun, again, have you used collocations in your exam in summarized spoken text, essay, and summarized written text?
Yeah, I think it was fairly simple. I just kept it simple everywhere. I didn't want to complicate anything. Summarize spoken text. For example, I just said the topic of the lecture was so and so. That was the first sentence. Second sentence, I spoke about a key point there, and the third sentence again was a key point. The fourth sentence was a conclusion. So it was as simple as that. So I didn't complicate things or write too many things that anybody could not understand. Essay, again, as I think we've discussed enough about it. We just need to have 4 paragraphs and how many words, all of that Amrish has already spoken about it.
Right. So someone who is good at writing may not be intentionally using a lot of collocations, but for example, if I write an important aspect of so and so, important aspects, you can treat it as a collocation. So,
Yes.
for some of them, it naturally comes. Or if you don't have that, maybe you have to purposefully put those collocations. That's it. But again, once you get involved into that writing scheme of things, then things will become much more easier.
I used to focus a lot on content before. I just wanted to share this with you. In all the sections, especially speaking and writing, because we have a lot of things that we write and also speak. So I used to focus a lot on content, and I later on realized, let me just talk about speaking. That's where I think I went wrong, because I always thought that what if I say let's say in a specific graph it says 2015, but I mistakenly said 2014. So I used to correct that initially. Oh, I said 2015, so I corrected to 2014. Trust me, the computer will not be judging you based on what year you're trying to say there. As far as your words are framed correctly, you have a sentence in place, and you are fluent, you're not pausing in between, and you're concluding before the actual timer stops. That is more important. That is all that matters. Don't worry too much on content. When we try to worry too much on content, definitely we'll miss out or we'll pause somewhere, because we'll not be able to frame proper sentences. So when you're just reading, read whatever you see. That's all.
That's it.
When you're
Perfect.
speaking, yeah.
That's the right way to go about it in speaking session. Yes. All right. All right. So, do we have more questions?
Any more questions related to specific topics?
Specific question type? Yes. Please feel free to ask. We have a few more minutes left to conclude this session. So, if you don't have any more questions, then maybe we will wind up the session.
So in between, I just want to tell again the same thing, that we have a lot of content available, uh, with us now. You can go to YouTube, you can go to multiple different websites and try to get information here and there. And each person who's giving you some insight can give you, let's say, I'm giving a different insight and the other person may have a different insight for you. So likewise, even if you go to YouTube, for example, we have loads of channels available there. And as the more you see, the more confused you get, and you will not know what to do. You try to grab one aspect from one person and then the other from another person, and ultimately you're nowhere. You're in the middle of the ocean. So please don't do that. Let us just focus on, again, I'm not trying to endorse Amrish here. uh, Whatever he says, I think it helped me a lot, and that's why I'm trying to tell that. So again, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to him in between, and then he will definitely help you. He's very approachable. So you can always make notes of whatever he told and just blindly practice. When you do that, I think it'll help. Let's not go and look out everywhere in the world for it.
Thank you so much, Dea, for your kind words. One important thing that I want everyone here to listen and understand this, because for Dea, when he came to me initially, see, the good thing about Dea is he's very open-minded. Okay, so he's willing to learn. It's not just that he's blindly following. He will also question the logic. So if I say something and if he really does not understand, he will ask you questions. Why do you think that is the case? So that's one amazing quality that he had, and he was amazingly calm. And that's something. So I think when he initially did the first test itself, I told him that you have a very good chance of getting 90 in all sections, and that's something that really worked out for him. So you have to remain calm throughout this process. I know for many of you this can be frustrating, especially if you have given the test few times, but it's very, very important to remain calm throughout this process. Only then you will have an open mind to learn. Only then you will be at the accepting end. And once you have that kind of that frame of mind, then things will work out really, really smooth. All right, so I think let's wind up the session. If you don't have any more questions, you can always reach out to me. Here is my number, 919742588878. So it's right there in your chat. So please, feel free to call or message. So thank you so much, Dea. So it's a Sunday, and then you took time out. I can, hear your kids shouting.
Yeah.
So
No
thank you
problem.
so much. Thank you so much for taking this time out to help all of us here.
No, for the guidance that you've given me, I think this time does not matter, and it was important for me to do something about it, and also try to help others in any way possible. I hope I was of some help today.
I really appreciate your effort today there. So, guys, we will wind up the session today. So probably we will most probably have another session next week, and that's again going to be a success story by one of our students who did he did 2 or 3 attempts. I think 2 attempts. He was in 70s and 80s, between 70s and 80s, and then he was able to cross that 80 points in I think 10 days or so, less than 10 days or so. Alright, so we'll send out the invite and even the recording of this session. So I hope this was helpful for all of you. Thank you so much, Daya. So we are going to wind up this session. Yeah.
Thanks everyone. All the best.
All the best. Yes.
Just have fun. Be confident. Don't lose your mind. Don't think it's a very big exam that I'm going to give. No, please don't think of anything. It's just an English exam. Take it that way and do give your best.
Perfect. All right. So let's wind up the session. Thank you once again, Daya.
Thank you.